Even the Washington Post is now, they have a columnist saying it's time to pull the plug on what is this disastrous White House Correspondents' Dinner. And, just vile, vicious, hateful, mean-spirited on every front. Going after Ivanka and Kellyanne Conway and Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And and on top of it all, it was just boring. Had you even ever heard of this woman before? I'd never heard of her. Patrick J. Buchanan, how many of these White House Correspondents' Dinners have you been to over the years?
I used to go to them, Sean, back when I was in the Reagan and Nixon days, and I'll tell you an interesting story. 1962, I went down there when I was in journalism school and stayed outside, me and a couple of buddies, and Clark Mullinoff, the great investigative reporter who won the Pulitzer, came out and talked to us and told me where I would, if I were working for him, he'd send me out to Des Moines and into the county courthouse and study records for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
I said I didn't think so. But it was an interesting event. In those days, and a good event. I went to a lot of them, and it was a friendly event. You got the natural tension, conservatives and liberals and Democrats and Republicans, but this was just grungy, raunchy, rotten stuff, unfunny. And this, she's been pounded for it, and deservedly so. But what does it say about the White House Correspondents Association that this is something they're all laughing and chuckling at, and many of them seem quite happy with?
Well, they wouldn't even condemn it themselves. Look, it is what it is. Everything that we've been saying, we've known for years. I'm kind of proud of the fact, Pat, that 30 years in radio, 23 years on Fox, I have never been to one. Not a single one. Never been, never want to be. And I thought it was a stroke of genius by the president now 2 years in a row to just, go be with the people.
Well, Trump has emerged as the winner of this. It's confirmed an awful lot of what he said about the press. I don't think all those people in that room, that huge room, 2,000 or 3,000 people, can have thought that disgusting performance had any dignity or real humor to it. I can't believe it. But what it does, it confirms what Trump says about the bias and the anti-Trump bigotry of the press and their character, frankly, that many would sit still and defend and what went on there. I don't know how they do that. I think they've damaged themselves.
So the president again today and over the weekend, and has been saying it for a long time on the issue of immigration, that was a big issue when you were running, Pat, that he will shut down the government unless Congress approves funding for the border wall in the next round of budget negotiations, which, by the way, is the start of the campaign season after Labor Day. And I think it would be the perfect time for the president. This is going to be, in my opinion, a referendum election. And the president even said, if you elect Democrats, they're going to want to impeach him. And I believe that's what this midterm election comes down to, that one issue, and protecting our borders, too.
I think it's the two issues you mentioned. In a way, this caravan is not a bad thing in the sense that it focuses the mind wonderfully on what is coming if you don't have a security wall and a security fence along the southern borders and our borders aren't protected. And that is the issue. If you get a Democratic House or Senate, you don't get the security wall on the southern border of the United States, and you're talking about the fate of the United States. And quite frankly, they've got no real agenda other than they're going to go after and try to impeach Donald Trump and overturn the election returns of 2016. They couldn't beat him, and so now they want to take the presidency away from the man the American people elected. I would make that a crucial issue this fall. And I agree with you. You start right up there on Labor Day.
I think you start there, and I'd also nationalize these elections. If you look at the lowest unemployment ever in 14 states, the lowest unemployment level for Black America, Hispanic Americans, for women in America. It's the lowest jobless claims in nearly 50 years. Consumer confidence at an all-time high. 3 million plus jobs already created. U.S. wages and salaries rising at the fastest pace in 10 years. And then if you add to that, I don't think, Pat Buchanan, you ever thought that Kim Jong-il was ever going to respond to being called Little Rocket Man and go sit at the table with Donald Trump and talk about the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. But it's happening. It
is happening, but I do think this. On this one, I cannot see Kim Jong-un giving up his atom bombs or allowing Americans to walk around inside his bomb factories and inspecting his country. And I think we better be prepared for the possibility that when he says denuclearization, he doesn't mean giving up all his atom bombs. I mean, we're going to insist on that, but we're going to come to a point, I think, where we find that what Kim Jong-un thinks is the only thing that keeps him in power, keeps him alive, and keeps the Americans at bay is nuclear weapons. Is he going to give those up? I mean, I believe it if I see it. If President Trump can do that, I'll give him all give him all the Nobel Prizes he wants.
Yeah, well, I'll look at that. Did you watch Prime Minister Netanyahu today and him lay out for the world the depth of the Iranian nuclear program?
Okay, I did watch it, but let me say this. Bibi has been crying wolf for decades. And U.S. intelligence agencies in 2007 and again in 2011 said with high confidence, quote, that they have no evidence of a nuclear weapons program in Iran. Subsequent to that, we had the deal. Now, if Iran has a nuclear weapons program and is working on it and it's secret, that would be an abject failure on the part of American intelligence. The CIA under Pompeo, the Defense Intelligence Agency.
Pompeo? Are you talking about? Well, wait a minute. He's laying out for the world. Do you actually doubt that the Iranians are building a nuclear weapons program? Do you actually have confidence that Barack Obama's $150 billion in cargo planes and cash and other currencies has persuaded the mullahs of Iran in all their fanaticism to give up on their nuclear ambitions? Because I don't believe that for a second.
Well, no, I don't believe they persuaded them. Look, the reason the Iranians signed the deal is because of the truth of what American intelligence said. Sean, they didn't have a nuclear weapons program.
Pat, you're not making sense.
Listen to me, Sean, all right, a little bit. Ahmadinejad said, look, I'm not stupid. If we spend all this time, money, and energy, we build an atomic bomb and the Americans have 5,000?
Pat, listen to me.
An atomic bomb?
Why would America, even under Obama, if they really didn't think the mullahs in Iran had these nuclear ambitions, then there would never have been a reason, even in Obama's mind or any liberal's mind, to back up the Brinks Trump, not $150 million, $150 billion, and they continue to spin their centrifuges, and we don't get to have the inspectors that we want. Of course they're building a nuclear weapons program.
Well, if they're building a nuclear weapon, then the American intelligence agencies have misled us again or have lied to us again. Now get all three of those guys, head of the CIA, DIA, and DNI, put them up before Senator Corker's committee and say, does Iran have a secret nuclear weapons program operating? And if so, when did it begin? Because you guys told us they didn't have one.
So you didn't watch Bibi Netanyahu's evidence and believe it today, because I believed every word of it. I believe
Bibi Netanyahu, with due respect, wants the United States to fight a war against Iran on Israel.
Nobody's talking about fighting a war.
I don't want my country getting into another war.
I don't want another war either. But if you look at North Korea, for example, Bill Clinton, he bribed Kim Jong-il's father, Kim Jong-un, with $3 billion in energy subsidies. And guess what, Pat? They have nuclear capability, and now they have rocket capability.
They got nuclear weapons. I agree with that.
That's correct. That's because, and so bribing didn't work then. Here's the danger.
The reason Iran doesn't have a bomb, they could have built a bomb, is because they don't want
it. Pat, here's the problem. If you marry a nuclear weapon with the fanaticism of the mullahs in Iran, you're looking at a modern-day Holocaust. Because the same people that chant death to America, death to Israel, burn our flag, burn the Israeli flag, the same people that would strap bombs on their own kids and promise them virgins in heaven, if they have nuclear capability in the name of their fanaticism, the world is headed for more death and destruction than perhaps we've ever seen.
Come on, Sean. Do you really think...
Come on, Pat. 100 million souls were lost in the last century. 100 million.
Do you really think, Sean, that the Iranian government, all those guys over there, a lot of them with a lot of money, want a nuclear war with the United States so they'll go to heaven?
Pat.
Come on.
Pat. I don't think the old rules. I don't think the old rules of détente or the old rules of mutually assured destruction work on people that think that they're doing God's will, killing, quote, infidels, and the radical. I'm talking about radicals. The radical Islamic mullahs.
Let me ask you something. Why haven't they started a war with the United States already?
Well, they got $150 billion. They just keep holding out, and America keeps bribing them. Don't you think what Obama did was dumb?
I think the Iran agreement, nuclear deal, The Iranians got
dumb.
the rest of it because they weren't building a bomb, and we rewarded them for doing what.
All right, so Barack Obama gives $150 billion. They continue to spin their centrifuges and hold the world hostage, and we don't even get inspectors, our own inspectors.
Sean, we have inspectors. The only centrifuges running are in Natanz, and they're running at low-grade uranium. They gave up 90% of the rest of the uranium. Look, Sean, listen to me. Tell the IAEA to go in and either confirm or deny what Netanyahu.
And the IAEA has a great history over the years. They've done a great job over the years.
Our CIA coming out and saying, we were wrong, Netanyahu is right, they have a secret atomic bomb program, and they're working on that right now, and they have been, and we were lied to. If the CIA and DIA and the others do that, I would say first we should fire the guys in charge that didn't uncover it, and secondarily, then maybe we should act, but certainly not act on
Pat,
another.
Nobody said
Netanyahu.
I think you're missing my point. We'll take a break. We'll come back more with Pat Buchanan on the other side. 800-941-SEAN is our toll-free telephone number. All right, as we continue with Patrick J. Buchanan, we're arguing over the presentation that was put forth by the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, from earlier today. The problem is, Pat, is if you back up cargo planes with $150 billion in cash and other currencies, and you marry, and this is the risk, if the Iranians are willing to open their country up to real inspections by the world and show the world that Bibi's wrong, I'm going to assume that Bibi's right. In the last, in the last century, over 100 million human souls were destroyed by evil. The Holocaust, Nazism, fascism, communism, killing fields. You know history as well as anyone. And I am saying that the stated goal of the Iranians, and what we know is fact, that they've had nuclear programs that they've kept hidden, that if you marry radical Islamism with nuclear weapons, you risk a modern-day Holocaust. So we need verification.
All right, so let's get Bibi Netanyahu. Say, Bibi, tell us exactly where the things are being done where they've been cheating, exactly where to go to, and, you know...
Hey, Pat, he laid it out today. He laid it out. Who's going to let him in? Who's going to let the world in? The IAEA.
Rely on a press conference by Bibi Netanyahu to go to war?
I have more faith in Bibi Netanyahu than I do in the mullahs in Iran or the team that Barack Obama put together. You have to be pretty stupid to hand Iranian mullahs that are chanting death to your country $150 billion. It's pretty dumb.
It would be more stupid, Sean, to be dragged into a war by Bibi
Nobody's
Netanyahu
talking about.
He's putting Israel first.
How about we get the inspections done, and if the Iranians...
I
want American inspectors in. Bibi laid out exactly where these programs are taking place, some of them underground, and to be honest,
let me ask you,
the Israelis have proven some of the best intelligence in the world.
Intelligence, because they obviously missed totally what Bibi's found. CIA, DIA, DNI, everybody we relied upon. Our guys ought to be fired if that's true, and people should be called before Congress.
Pat, there's intelligence sharing.
Conference by Bibi Netanyahu.
Excuse me, there's intelligence sharing now at a level we've never seen before between the Israelis, the Americans, Jordanians, Egyptians, even the Saudis, and even the Emirates. And hang on. And now, and the reason for this is because they live in that part of the world, and they see the dangers of a nuclear-armed Iran and Iranian hegemony in the region.
Sean, we all see the danger of a nuclear-armed Iran.
Okay.
But why did Bibi discover it and our guys didn't?
All right, I got to let it go there. I like it better when we're fighting. All right, 800-941-SEAN, Patrick J. Buchanan.